Thinking about getting a university degree but just staring at that price tag? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of affordable, fully accredited online degrees from universities all over the planet.
I mean, it's no secret that the cost of higher education can be absolutely staggering. For a lot of people, we're talking about an investment that's right up there with buying a house. And that cost, it's a huge barrier to entry.
But, the whole landscape of education is changing, and it's changing fast. Just look at this number. A whopping 61% of undergrad students in the U.S. took at least one online course back in 2021. And listen, this isn't just some little trend. It's a massive shift in how we're all learning.
So that leads to a really powerful question, right? What if you could just sidestep the biggest problems with traditional college, the crazy cost and being stuck in one location, and still get a quality degree from pretty much anywhere, totally on your own terms? Well, that right there is the huge promise of online learning.
All right, so where exactly are these affordable degrees? Let's take a quick trip around the world and look at some of the most accessible online universities you can find.
Okay, just look at this table. It really shows you the incredible range we're talking about. You've got the University of the People in the US, which is tuition-free. You just have to cover some fees for exams. Or check out the Open University in the UK. That's a super respected school, and its annual tuition is just a tiny fraction of what you'd pay to be on a traditional campus. It's so clear that you've got amazing, affordable options all over the world.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Because think about it. You're not just saving money on tuition. You're cutting out these other massive costs, like living in a dorm, transportation, and just the high cost of living in a college town. You can get a world-class education without ever having to pack a bag.
Of course, the second you hear low cost, that big question pops into your head, right? Is it actually any good? So let's just dive in and tackle the whole quality question head on.
Yeah, this is a huge myth that we really need to bust right now. Just because a degree costs less doesn't mean it's worthless. The price of an online degree doesn't tell you anything about its academic quality or how valuable it is. There are actually really strong systems out there to make sure these programs are top-notch.
So how do they actually measure quality? Well, a lot of schools use a system like this: input, process, output model. The easiest way to think about it is like baking a cake. The inputs, those are your top-notch ingredients, like the curriculum, the expert professors, the tech platform. The process is how you actually bake the cake, the teaching style, the student support. And the output? Well, that's your amazing finished cake, a graduate who has real skills that employers are looking for.
And this isn't just the universities grading their own homework. There's actually this whole global web of organizations that keep an eye on things. You've got national accreditation bodies in pretty much every country, you have huge regional networks, and the universities themselves are constantly being reviewed. All of this works together to make sure that an online degree is a legit, valuable qualification.
Okay, to really get how online degrees work, we've got to look under the hood at the economics. And trust me, it's not as simple as you might think.
Okay, this next part is so important. We have to get our heads around the difference between cost and price. Cost is what the university actually spends to build and run the course, but price is the tuition that you, the student, actually pay. And those two numbers, they are almost never the same.
And here's something that's probably going to surprise you. Believe it or not, creating a really good online course can actually cost a university more than a traditional in-person class. And why is that? Well, because you're not just booking a lecture hall. You are building an entire, complex digital experience from the ground up. So where does all that money go? Well, it's all this stuff. Universities have to spend big on powerful learning platforms. They have to pay instructional designers to help professors create amazing digital lessons. They have to provide 24/7 tech support, train faculty on how to teach online. The list goes on and on. These are really significant ongoing investments.
But what does all that mean for the price you pay? Okay, check this out. This example from the University of Minnesota is so interesting. Look at the tuition. It's identical for both students, but the online student pays a specific online course fee, while the on-campus student pays for things like the campus and student services. So what's the result? The total price for the online student is actually a little bit lower. So get this, the university might be spending more, but you can end up paying less. Crazy, right?
All right, let's say you're sold. You're thinking, okay, how do I do this? Let's switch gears and get practical. Here's a little toolkit for how to apply and what you should really expect. The good news is the application process itself is usually super straightforward. First up, you do your homework. You research your schools and programs. Then make sure you tick all the boxes for their requirements. After that, it's just filling out the forms, uploading your documents, paying any fees, and boom, you're in. You get your login, and you are ready to go.
Okay, but we got to be real for a second here. The flexibility of online learning is amazing, yes, but, and this is a big but, it takes a ton of self-discipline. There's no professor physically there to keep you on track. You also have to be really comfortable with technology being your main classroom, and you have to be the one to reach out and connect with other students. It's just a different way to learn, and you need to be honest about whether it's the right fit for you.
And finally, let's look to the future. Because what we're seeing right now with the virtual classroom, it's really just the beginning. The technology is evolving at an absolutely incredible pace. Seriously, the stuff that's coming down the pipeline is so exciting. I mean, imagine having an AI tutor that customizes your lessons for you in real time, or using video game design to make really tough subjects fun and engaging. Think about working on real-world projects with students all over the globe, or even attending a lecture on a virtual reality campus in the metaverse. This isn't science fiction anymore. This stuff is being built right now.
So all of this really leads us to one final, huge question. As all this technology completely redefines the classroom, that line between online and on campus is just going to get blurrier and blurrier. It really makes you wonder, what will the university of tomorrow even look like?